Good morning for those of you on the West Coast, and good afternoon for those of you who are on the East Coast. Welcome to the London Drugs Chef-inspired home cooking Facebook Live event where we're going to be featuring air frying and sous videing. My name is Dan Moy, and I'm a merchandise manager here at London Drugs, and I'm honored to be beside Chef Joelle here. Joelle Batista has a laundry list of expertise in the culinary world. And the resume goes on, but a couple things just to mention. You know, graduate from both Fordham University along with the Natural Gourmet Institute, just two of the many things that we don't have time to read on. But thank you very much, and like past guests, I'm going to refer to you as Chef moving forward from here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk about these appliances.
Fantastic.
Today.
And the reality is, you know, working for London Drugs, I get a lot of questions about the products that we sell to our customers. And we thought it would be a great idea to focus in on two of the most popular questions that I'm asked on an ongoing basis, and that is, tell me more a little about air frying and how does that work into my lifestyle. And another one that we're going to talk about today is sous videing, which is an emerging category. There's a lot of people talking about it, but a lot of information that's a little unknown to the public out there. So again, we've sourced our expert here today to talk about it, and we are excited. And you can see here we have Chefman products. To our right here, we have the 3-in-1 air fryer. To the left here, we have a sous vide. And we'll also talk a little bit about the basket air frying as well too. But boy, are you guys lucky today, because initially we were going to give away two prizes during this Facebook Live event to those of you who made a comment or makes a comment, asks a question, send us emoji, tell us where you're from, and we'll interact with you. But automatically you are entered in, not today, we're not going to give away two prizes, but thanks to the generosity of our vendor partner Chefman, we're going to give away 7 prizes during this event, which again, by interacting with us, asking a question, sending that emoji, post a comment, you will be automatically entered to win one of 7 prizes. Down below here, before we get started, you can see we're going to be giving away the air fryer, the 3-in-1 here, the 3.5, which we're going to talk about, which is the basket fryer, and he's telling us we're almost ready to start our demo here, along with the sous vide. We have the immersion blender, as you can see down below here, an electric wine opener, great for the 2nd and 3rd bottle of wine, not that I know from personal experiences. A programmable glass kettle, which also comes with a tea infuser, and boy, I can tell you, it is a thing of beauty, the design that has gone into it. And the last one that makes up the 7 prizes, a glass top warming tray, which is perfect for entertaining, which I'm sure you do a lot of. Well, I'm going to back off here, and I'm going to let Chef here talk a little bit about air frying, and I'll hand it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dan. So a little bit about air frying. People don't really understand air frying. They think it's frying. I get so many questions so it's basically like deep frying with air. It kind of has that same effect, but that's not really what it is. So basically an air fryer is like a small countertop convection oven. In culinary school, we use a lot of convection ovens because it's so fast. The food always comes out super crispy on the outside and tender and juicy and delicious on the inside. So it's definitely the oven of choice for culinary school students, and I have a convection oven at home because I love it so much. So basically what this is a miniature version of a convection oven, and it actually will cook faster than a typical convection oven because of the fact that it's so small. It's a small area to heat, heats very quickly, there is no preheating necessary with this. So that's really basically what, you know, an air fryer is.
Just to interrupt you here, you hit on a great point where there's no preheating, and I can tell you the odd time when I do use our home oven, there is a bit of a delay when we have to bring it up to the temperature or the desired temperature. So what you're saying here is basically once it's plugged in, you turn it on, you can insert your food, program the time, and pretty much walk away from it.
Yes.
Well, from a convenience perspective, I know that's huge, especially everyone's on tight time schedules right now. And looking at it as well too, it's a bit of unique looking. It's not the shape of your traditional toaster oven that sits on your counter. You can see here on the camera, it's kind of got a futuristic design here, and in many cases, it probably would complement the overall looks in your kitchen. And due to the size that you mentioned, it is quite footprint friendly for smaller countertops. And again, you're going to talk a little bit about the capacity and the size to it. But anyways, I'll let you get back to talking about the functions of this particular air fryer.
So if you don't know what a convection oven is, it's high speed air circulation, high heat. That combination creates good crispy texture, the food cooks very quickly, so that's why an air fryer is so essential to have in your kitchen, especially if you don't have a convection oven. And even if you do, sometimes you don't want to turn on your oven. I know Dan and I were talking last night about how I live in an apartment, and when I turn my oven on, the whole apartment turns to 80 degrees. So my boyfriend and I keep an air fryer on the counter, and it's so much easier to just plug it in. We can do, like a few weeks ago, we did like a blueberry crumble because we really wanted that summery treat, but without having to turn the entire apartment to 100 degrees.
Well, that's amazing. And what I can tell you today, we are going to prepare some recipes here. Some of them we've made in advance this morning, just due to time limitations. But what I do know is that Chefman has created 8 unique recipes for us to walk through here today. Again, unique to London Drugs for this Facebook Live event here. And just before I forget here, I just want to quickly introduce Chef Megan here, who has personally prepared all these recipes for us here. So a shout out to Megan for that. And all of our recipes that are unique for this Facebook Live event will be posted on blog at londondrugs.com. You just need to go into the search bar there and type in Facebook Live recipes, and there you'll find all the recipes that we're going to talk about or bring up today as well too. But back to this air fryer, you know, a lot of people talk about capacity. Again, it might be hard to tell for those of you who are watching from your computers or your mobile phone there, but this particular unit is actually a 6-liter capacity, which surprises me because of the actual footprint.
Yeah. So instead of having something wide like a toaster oven on your countertop, this is actually built up. So you have multiple rack placements and 2 racks that come with the unit, so you can do layers of things instead of, you know, one large sheet tray. So it's a smaller footprint, it's built up a little bit instead, and therefore it can really hold a lot of food.
That's amazing. I know there's going to be a lot of questions coming out from the viewing audience. Actually, we have one already from Dean, and the question is, I'm just going to read out here, I'm really interested in the Chefman air fryer. I'm just wondering if it's easy to clean after frying. And that is a great question, Dean, because I can tell you in our household, there's not a lot of things that get hand washed anymore. Pretty much everything goes into the dishwasher, right or wrong, but that's just the reality. So maybe you can tell or help answer Dean's question in terms of cleaning and whether it is dishwasher safe.
Sure. So all of the attachments for this unit are top rack dishwasher safe. So this 3-in-1 air fryer comes with a rotating basket that you can use for French fries or shrimp or something like that. It comes with a rotisserie spit that we're going to talk about in a few minutes. And it comes with 2 actual cooking trays, which you have one over here just so you can see kind of what it looks like. And it also comes with a drip pan. All of those things are top rack dishwasher safe. We don't ever hand wash anything in the kitchen if we can avoid it, so we'll stick it on top of the dishwasher and it cleans beautifully. It's so easy to clean it up, and the door is super easy to clean. It's glass and it's very simple, it's not messy, and it really keeps all the grease contained, which is why it's so good for even greasy things. So something like chicken that you would normally deep fry and would retain all that extra fat, you get all the fat that drips off. Even like something like bacon, you know, you don't want to make a huge mess in your kitchen on the stovetop. You can do bacon in here in 8 minutes, and it contains all the grease inside the unit, and it's super easy to clean afterwards.
Boy, Chef here is talking about bacon, and this was not this was not made up here, but boy, I don't think we have bacon here, but that's definitely something that I'm going to try out in one of these.
We'll have to bring some bacon.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Dan Moy, Merchandise Manager for London Drugs, and alongside me here we have Chef Joelle here. And we're featuring Chefman, air frying and sous viding, and we have a whole host of prizes here that we're going to be giving away to you. And all we need from you is a comment, drop us a hello, send us an emoji, even better, send us a question, and we're going to address those questions live like we've done with one already, and I can see we have some more, but I want to get you back to showing our audience here exactly what you can do with this, because I can see the chicken on the spit there, and boy, I've been eyeing that up for the last 20 minutes, even before this segment started, and I can see something in the oven as well too. So why don't you take it away, Chef?
Sure. So what I love about this capacity of this unit is that because you have the 2 racks, you can do multiple things at the same time. So I know when we met, we were doing burgers and fries. We wanted to carry that through. We can do an all-in-one dinner situation, especially for 2 people. You know, you can see it's not meant to hold enough food for a family of 10 or anything, but you could do a whole dinner for 2 people in this unit comfortably, maybe even 4 people depending on what you're cooking. So right here we have prepared for you steak frite, which is just steak and fries. You can use You can use fresh fries, and we have a recipe for that online, both on the London Drugs blog page and also on clubchefman.com with code LondonDrugs. And you can also use frozen
Let me
fries.
help you out there.
So this is an all-in-one dinner situation. So I'm going to plate this up for 2 people. But you can see how easy it is to get these off of here. They're so crispy.
And I can tell you, from a crispiness, this is something that you would expect to come out of a traditional or conventional deep fryer. And the flavors are, it is just popping in my mouth right now. They're so enhanced, and now you've really won my heart over, because as you can see here, there is a steak. And just to reference when Joelle was mentioning that the first time we met, I was actually in their test kitchen. She was sampling the air frying unit. And just for me, I don't know how she knew this, but she actually put the fries underneath the steaks there, or it was the burgers at that time, just to get that extra grease dripping onto it. And boy, I can tell you, it was an amazing experience. Great, a question from Dean Val. Do you have to preheat an air fryer? And I think, Dean, thanks for asking that question. And we did talk about it earlier on, but for those of you who are just joining us, great question here. I'll let you speak to it, but I believe you do not need to preheat the air fryer.
No, so for air frying, it heats up so quickly, especially, I mean, this is a bigger air fryer. You can get air fryers that are smaller. They heat up very quickly. It's a high-speed fan, high heat combination that will infuse heat into the entire unit almost instantly. So, I mean, this unit has multiple presets. So it has fries and fish and meat and shrimp, and then it also has chicken, rotisserie, bake, and dehydrate. So when we bake at home, when we bake in our kitchen, we usually will preheat it for maybe a minute or 2, but that's all you need for baking. But honestly, you don't even really need to do that. If you don't have time, you don't want to do that, you can just throw in a cake. We've made brownies in here. So many options, like upside down cakes. You can do it all in this unit.
Oh, that's amazing. And this thing has so many features, and we're going to try to get to all the features here, but I see that there's questions coming in. And again, this is about informing you, the viewing audience, and really we want to take it in a direction that's most beneficial for our viewers. And we have another question here from Kai Lai here, who questions, I'm looking to buy one from London Drugs. Do you need to use oil for the device? And before we talk about the oil for the device, I just want to let all our viewers know that the 3 feature items that we're featuring here today, we actually have on sale for this event that starts today, and it ends on Sunday, so it gives you a little bit of time here. We have the 3-in-1 cooker here that just going to make sure that I get my pricing right here. There it is. It's regular $199 for Facebook Live viewers or for your friends. If you want to purchase in store, online, you can do online pickup in store for convenience. We have $30 off up until Sunday for this event here, $169.99. We're going to talk a little bit about this 3.5 basket air fryer here. We just don't have enough space, but this is a very another popular air fry unit, but it's a basket, and we will talk about it. But you can purchase that again today until Sunday for $64.99 at any London Drugs. That's a save $35, and I can tell you these prices are our lowest prices of the year. They've been advertised for a higher price, but I can tell you that we worked hard with our vendor partners to get a great deal for those of you who are interested in purchasing any 3 of these units, along with the Sous vide here, which is regular $129.99, and boy, you can get a Wi-Fi sous vide, which we're going to talk about here, for $94.99. Again, a savings of $35. But back to the question that was brought in: do you need to use oil with the air fry unit?
So I get this question all the time. So most things, whether they're frozen or meats, they have a lot of fat already. So like frozen fry actually has oil on it, so you could make it in your oven and you'll get somewhat crispy texture. Now imagine putting that same fry that's designed for your oven in an air fryer, how incredibly crispy and delicious that'll be. So no, we don't want to add extra oil to things that already have fat. So something like a steak or even like chicken thighs, you don't need to add fat to them. But air fried vegetables are so delicious. I've done acorn squash in here very recently because it's starting to get fall and I didn't want to have to turn on my oven, and I was only making 1 acorn squash. So a little bit of olive oil on something like that, or even like broccoli, cauliflower, carrots. The options are kind of unlimited. You would want to use a little bit of olive oil just to get a crispy texture, and also it adds flavor.
That's great. And for those of you who just joined us, I'm Dan Moy, Merchandise Manager for London Drugs, alongside here with Chef Joelle. We're talking about air frying, which is a question that comes up all the time. We're going to try to answer your questions here. We have sous viding as well too. Just back to, excuse me, I've been looking at that bird for a little while there. Maybe you can tell our audience there to get a perfect chicken like I see in front of me here, and I don't know how long I can just look at it, but we have it on the rotisserie spit there, but maybe you can tell our viewing audience just exactly how do you achieve that result with that particular air fryer.
So this 3-in-1 multifunction air fryer comes with a rotisserie preset. So not only does it have a rotate function, but there's a preset time and temp so that you know exactly how long to cook your chicken. The max amount, like weight-wise, is about 4 pounds for a chicken because, you know, you can see they might hit the top and the bottom of the air fryer while it's spinning if you try to do any bigger than that. So this chicken in particular was 45 minutes at 380 degrees. So one thing that we love about doing rotisserie chickens in our air fryers is that when you go to the grocery store, you buy a rotisserie chicken, it's so delicious, and you look on the ingredients, there's more than just chicken. It's injected with salt and other fluids and stuff, and we don't like that in our food. We're very, we want to know exactly what we're putting into our bodies. So we can create that delicious rotisserie flavor at home by just putting it on the rotisserie spit, putting it into the air fryer, and hitting the rotate button.
Fantastic. And just for those of you again who are joining us, or just to for those of you who want to enter to win one of 7, again, 7 prizes that we're going to be drawing today of Chefman products here. We have an assortment down below here. All you need to do to automatically enter is basically send us a question, a comment, a hello. Ask us a question. We'd love to answer your live questions. Send us an emoji, and automatically you'll be entered to win one of the 7 prizes here today. A sous vide maker, the 3-in-1, the 3.5 basket air fryer, and again, the assortment that's down below here. But I want to get moving on here to the sous vide on the left, and we'll come back to the air fryer as well too, because I think you have some stuff planned for us. But I get asked a lot about sous viding. What is sous viding? And there you go, Amber. Great question here. What is sous viding cooking, and why can it be better than traditional methods? So, again, Amber, you're reading my mind because I have these questions as well too. But I'm going to let the professional here talk about sous viding and how it can help your everyday cooking lifestyle and what you can use it for in your home. I'm going to switch sides here with you.
Sure. So sous vide in French means under vacuum. So this method of cooking has been around actually for a while, and it's traditionally used by restaurants, but we're bringing it into the home to really help the consumer utilize this technology because it's pretty awesome. So a sous vide is really perfect for things like meat and fish and chicken that you don't want to overcook, because the way that it works is it will circulate air in a tub, and it'll hold up to, I think, 16 quarts of water is what this particular unit can circulate at a specific temperature. So say you want like a medium rare steak, that temperature I think is 130 degrees Fahrenheit. You can put your steak in, calculate the time on our sous vide app. That'll tell you exactly how long and for at what temperature. You can put it in. You can either use a vacuum seal bag, or you can use a freezer safe heat-safe Ziploc bag by just putting it into the water, letting the water push the air out, and then clipping it to the side.
And that's a great question, because I get asked that a lot as well too. Do you have to vacuum seal it? Can you use a Ziploc bag? And that's probably one of the most common ones for those viewers that do know about sous viding. And we talked a little bit about that. And perhaps a little bit later, we can actually show you, if you're not going to use a bag sealer, which is still the preference to lock in the flavors, you can use a Ziploc bag, which we'll show you here. But I just wanted to highlight that was a very common question that I'm asked all the time. Just to let the viewing audience know that once you get one of these, and I've had the opportunity to play around with one, and it has elevated my limited skills in cooking. But cooking fish, I can tell you, my family and friends, when I bring out the fish now, they're asking me, how did you cook this? The good thing is I have the sous vide that I use. The bad thing is I don't really want to tell them my secret here, but we're kind of letting that out of the bag now. So for those of you who know me or have tried my fish, this is how I do it. But honestly, we just want to share this amazing technology with our viewing audience and tell you a little bit more about it, because we do get asked a lot about sous viding.
Yeah, so in restaurants, what they'll actually do is they'll have a big, huge tub full of water that they're circulating at temperature. So say they're serving medium rare steaks and they want every single steak to come out exactly medium rare without any question. They'll have each steak individually in the tub of water that's being circulated at the proper temperature, and when it's time, when you order a steak, they'll just take it out of the bag, which is probably has some sort of flavor things like spices and maybe a little bit of oil to add a little flavor. They'll take it out of the bag, they'll throw it either like on a grill or a flat top just for like 30 seconds on each side to get that crisp outside, because as you can see, when it's submerged in water, you're not getting that same crisp, dry texture on the outside that you would get with like a dry cooking method. So they would just throw it on the flat top for 30 seconds and serve it. So we were using that same technology at home to create perfect fish and chicken and steaks just for your family.
Well, you always wonder when you're at a banquet, wedding, or a function with numerous people, and there's catering involved, and that steak or fish that comes out, or even chicken for that matter, is perfectly cooked, and they're serving in some cases up to 200, 400, maybe even 1,000 people, and you wonder, how do they get that perfect? And I struggle just serving. I have a family of 5, 3 boys, and boy, there's nothing worse than having a great cut of steak or a nice fish and overcooking it. That's, in my opinion, and my boys will tell me as well too, Dad, you've overcooked the meat and there's nothing much I can do. But now I have this tool that I can use, and pretty much is perfection every time. Just going to switch spots with you here real quickly here. And the great thing about this particular unit, and again, you can purchase it for $94.99 between today and Sunday. It's a Wi-Fi model. So not only do you have your manual controls here, but we were playing around with this for those of you that are watching right now. You can see the app on my phone here, and I'll plug it in here so you can see a better view of it. But you can see here, I can actually set the temperature. So right now it's at 140 degrees. I'm going to play around this and put in 122, hit done, and you can see here, I'm not sure if the camera can get this, but we're at 122. Hopefully I didn't mess around with your recipe there.
That'll work.
But again, it's a Wi-Fi model that again is connected to the Chefman app, and I'm just going to plug in here and see whether or not we can get an actual image on the screen there. Again, for those of you at home, but I'll try to show it here. I think we've got it up on the screen there, and you can toggle around with different features, but it actually assists you with your cooking, whether you're doing other tasks around the house. You can monitor your cooking time. There's a bunch of different features, but again, I'm going to let you get back to talking about the sous videing, and I see a few different things in there as well too. So
sure. So one of the benefits of sous vide cooking is that you can't really overcook things. So we love the idea of set it and forget it. And you know, something like meat or like a night, like you said, like an expensive steak, you typically wouldn't think I can just put it in here and not worry about it for a little while. So sous vide is a longer method of cooking than traditional. You know, so maybe you would sear a steak 8 minutes, you know, total. Depending on the thickness of the steak here. For a medium rare steak that's 2 inches, you're looking at about 2 to 3 hours at 130 degrees. But that's awesome because at 4 o'clock, you come home from work, you want to stick it in there, go do whatever you're doing, and then in 2 hours when you come back, dinner is ready. So
a little bit about, and I really want you to get to the recipes as well too, and just for those of you who are joining us, we have 8 custom recipes that have been created for this event by Chefman for London Drugs and the Facebook Live here. And we did a call out earlier, but for those of you who are just joining us, Chef Megan here created all 8 recipes that we're going to be featuring. Again, my name is Dan Moy, London Drugs Merchandise Manager for Small Appliances. Next to me, I'm honored to be next to Chef Joelle here, and we're talking about air frying as well as sous videing, 2 commonly asked categories where customers or friends are asking me questions, and we thought, what a great opportunity to answer some of those. Just a reminder, we do have a draw. It's win one of 7 great prizes here from Chefman. All you need to do is send us a comment. Basically, send us an emoji, a question. Just reach out to us, and you will automatically be entered to win one of these 7 great prizes to complement your kitchen. So we were just talking about sous videing here, and I believe you're going to prepare something, but while we're doing that, something that you were talking about, and I mentioned that on a regular basis, I won't mention, but I do stop off at a chain coffee place, and they have these amazing sous vide eggs. And it was interesting, and this was not planned, but maybe talk a little bit about the sous vide eggs that you guys prepared the recipe for this event.
Sure. So I'm just going to grab these things. Thank you. So as we were getting ready for this event, we were thinking, you know, what's going on right now in people's lives? And one of the things that came up is like, it's time for back to school. So I remember when I was a kid, how stressful the mornings can be. You know, my parents running around, trying to get dressed, trying to get us dressed, trying to get us fed. And so these sous vide egg bites really kind of solve that problem with a really healthy option for your kids. So these egg bites they cook for 1 hour at 172 degrees, and they are prepared in 4 ounce, take 1 ounce, woo! Sorry. A little bit slippery. Oh my gosh.
You know what? We're just going to...
Hold on.
Okay, we're going to go right in. It is definitely warm, but you can see, not that I've done this before, I'm going to hand that to you right there.
Okay, so, you all right?
Medic. It's all good.
Okay, so, anyway, these egg bites, right? So it's scrambled eggs with vegetables. So for this particular recipe that you can find online, there is spinach and there's also...
Right there so the viewing audience can see.
Oh, sure. Spinach and sun-dried tomatoes and also feta in these. But you can really put whatever kind of vegetables your kids like. So if your kids like peppers or if they like sauteed onions, just take that out of there. It's so easy to prepare these like on a Sunday night, you know, when you have a little bit of extra time for your kids.
So I know personally with 3 boys at home, and our schedule is extremely tight, and shout out to my wife who really pretty much holds the glue together for our family, but this would be a great option. I can tell you with 3 kids, they all have different tastes, but I will tell you that they all love eggs. So this is a great back to school, back to busy, as you mentioned, where you can prepare. And how long does it take to, I guess from start to finish, prepare something like that, or have it soaked in the sous vide bath?
So we did 6 right now. You can do up to 12. It takes an hour of cooking. It's probably 5 minutes of prep. It's 1 egg per cup. So you can mix all your eggs together with your vegetables, whatever you want to put in there, cheese, even like you could do pieces of bacon or sauce, like crumbled cooked sausage if you want to. They cook for an hour, and then you can either do that like on a Monday morning and have your kids take it out and just eat it right there, or like what we've done in the kitchen is we'll make them, and then when it's time for breakfast in the morning, we'll just pop one out and microwave it for 30 seconds, and you have scrambled eggs, and they're so delicious and they're never dry.
Boy, it looks delicious, and it's a Mediterranean sous vide egg cup, which is available on our blog, blog at londondrugs.com. In the search bar, just type in Facebook Live recipes, and you're going to see all 8 recipes here. So for those of you who are interested in looking at that recipe for the sous vide eggs, that's definitely on our blog page. Again, for those of you who are just joining us, I'm Dan Moy from London Drugs, Merchandise Manager for Small Appliances, and next to me here is Chef Joelle. We're talking about air frying and sous viding, and for those of you, again, who are just joining us, we want you to enter in to win one of 7 prizes that we're going to be donating today, or raffling off, so to speak. And all you need to do is send us a comment, ask us a question, send us an emoji, reach on out to us, and you will automatically be entered to win one of 7 units. For those of you who would like to win it, as well as maybe perhaps purchase it, we have the 3 items that we are featuring here today on sale for this event at London Drugs or londondrugs.com. Up until Sunday, you can get the 3-in-1 6-liter air fryer for $169.99. That's $30 off for this event. We also have the 3.5 basket fryer, which we'll bring out a little bit later as well too to talk about, because it does have different features to it, or roles in terms of air frying. And then we also have the Wi-Fi sous vide. And again, another question that was brought up from our studio support team. They're asking about how powerful this sous vide unit was, and what we can tell you, it's 1,100 watts, which is more than ample for any household to sous vide. And I guess there was another question that was brought up in terms of what type of, can you use any type of container? Like, what are some of the things that you can use around your house to actually do the sous viding in?
Okay, so I'm not going to pull this out, but on the bottom of this unit, there's a minimum mark. So that just shows the minimum amount of water that you would want to make sure is, that the sous vide is in order to get the good circulation. Also, you need to have the food fully submerged. So you want to pick something that you can fully submerge the food in the water, because if it's coming out of the top of the water, you have like issues with food safety. So there's a maximum level on here and there's a minimum level on here. Like we said, it can circulate up to 16 quarts of water at once. And you want to make sure that the food is completely submerged in the water. You could do it in like a regular cooking pot. It just has to reach that minimum water amount.
We have another question from our audience here. Sharon Williams, great question. Is it hot to touch when it's on? I'm going to make the assumption you were talking, that Sharon's talking about the 3-in-1 oven here, and I can tell you it is off right now, but I did have my hand on it while I was cooking, and it was cool to touch. You don't have your traditional heat from a stainless steel countertop oven, which basically emanates heat from the top. There is a fan at the back here that I heard going earlier. It's actually quite quiet. We can actually, maybe we'll switch positions here and you can turn it on so that our viewing audience can actually, through microphones here.
Do you want me to?
Oh, even better. You're going to actually utilize it.
I could cook
so,
for you,
okay,
sure.
I'll stand back and let the chef do her job.
So another thing that we were considering when we were preparing these recipes, when Megan was preparing these recipes, was Thanksgiving. So Canadian Thanksgiving, we know, is coming up a little earlier than American Thanksgiving. And so we know that the oven can kind of be a very crowded place on Thanksgiving Day. So we wanted to think of something that could maybe free up some room in your oven. So this we have prepared here. This is our recipe for sweet potato casserole. So I'm going to pull this out of the sous vide here. This is just chopped sweet potatoes with butter, brown sugar, some spices, and a few herbs. You can see here on the back, there's some herbs in here. This cooks for 2 hours, 2.5 hours at 180 degrees. This is super easy. Like we said, you can't really overcook things. So you can put it in the morning, take it out whenever you're ready, and I'm going to show you how to finish it off when you're ready to serve.
While you're doing that, I'm just going to walk over here and grab the 3.5. So while you're doing that, I just want to showcase here, there is a basket air fryer, which is extremely popular out there as well too. And while you're preparing that, maybe you can talk a little about the basket air fryer as opposed to the oven air fryer that we're featuring here as well.
Sure. So the basket air fryer is extremely easy to use. It's very user friendly. I mean, not that the multifunction air fryer isn't, but it has multiple presets. You have a lot more options with this. My grandma has this unit at home and absolutely loves it. It's so easy to use, and it's a smaller capacity. If you don't live with a big family, sometimes you just want to have this extra small footprint. This is perfect. Like, I've done a whole acorn squash cut in half in here. You could do 2 pounds of fries in here. You could do multiple chicken thighs. You really have a lot of options. Especially if you're not cooking for that many people. It's a small footprint and it heats extremely quickly.
And again, for this event here, Facebook Live, we've entered in lowest prices of the year, $64.99. You can get this unit here at any London Drugs or londondrugs.com. You can have it shipped to your house, or you can have it shipped to the most convenient location closest to you for pickup in store. For those of you who are joining us, my name is Dan Moy with London Drugs, Merchandise Manager. I'm here with Chef Joelle here, who's in the midst of creating one of 8 custom recipes. Before I continue on here, to let you know how you can win one of 7 prizes, we have another great question here from Joan Downey. And it's a great question. Can I cook from frozen? And that's, again, with everyone's busy lifestyle, there's items in the freezer that perhaps you come home a little bit late and you see that your meat or products are frozen in the freezer. Mm-hmm. What are the alternatives that someone has if the food is frozen?
So
pass this back to you here.
So whether you're talking about the air fryer or the sous vide, it kind of differs a little bit. So in our sous vide app, the calculator actually will account for frozen. If you have something frozen, it'll add time, I think an hour, to the total time of cooking. So if you wanted to cook like a frozen piece of meat, you totally could. In terms of the air fryer, you're getting hot air circulation. So the outside of that meat is going to cook much more quickly than the inside. So you really take a chance there with food safety. So for meat or something in the air fryer, I would definitely defrost it. But for this, you have the option. It even accounts for that in the app if you do have something frozen that you want to cook.
So great question from Joan. Thank you. You're automatically entered to win one of 7 prizes here that we're going to be giving away for the Facebook Live event. For those of you who just joined us, drop us a hello. Tell us where you're from. Ask us a question. We'd love to answer that live on this segment here. For those of you who would like to just enter yourself in, send us an emoji. You automatically get entered to win one of 7 prizes. I'm Dan Moy from London Drugs. We have Chef Joelle here. For those of you who are just joining us, 8 custom recipes that were created for this event. And for those of you who didn't get a chance to see the chef behind the magic of all the recipes, a big shout out here to Megan, who created these 8 custom recipes for us. And again, they're available on our blog at londondrugs.com. You just put in the search bar Facebook Live recipes, and you'll find all 8 recipes. Video will also be on our Facebook page this afternoon. If you happen to miss anything, you can pause, you can rewind for the bloopers that we're doing right now. You can have fun with that as well too. But I can tell you, I'm looking at what you're doing here, and boy, I'm amazed. You put a tray in there, and a question that I have It is smaller than a traditional toaster oven,
Yes.
and it's more probably square. And I'm sure our audience is also asking what size of tray could actually fit into that unit, because there's no custom trays. You have to work within the parameters of the unit. But
Yes.
tell us a little bit about what you can actually put into the oven that would fit.
So this is an 8x8. This is an 8-inch by 8-inch cooking pan.
And that's standard in the cooking world.
Yeah.
It's commonly used.
So you could do like a whole batch of cake batter in here. You could do brownies in here. You could do chicken if you want to put, you know, like lemon slices or something. You could do that in here. You can really bake anything that you would bake in a traditional oven in an 8x8 pan. You can put it in the air fryer on bake mode. So that's what we're going to do now, actually. So we have the sweet potatoes that came out of the sous vide cooker. We mashed them up a little bit. We put them into this pan. We just sprinkled the marshmallows on top. So this is like on Thanksgiving Day when you're ready to serve this. You can either throw it into your multifunction air fryer, or you can put it in a traditional oven. We're gonna put this in, and this is gonna cook for 10 minutes at 400 degrees. So we're gonna put it on the
And
bake
question
function.
from previous about the temperature on the outside of the air fryer. We're actually going to address that right now. I'll let Chef Joelle turn on the unit here, set it to the appropriate time. Again, for those of you who are just joining us, all the recipes that we're going over today, or creating for that matter, are going to be available on our blog, at blog.londondrugs.com. There in the search bar, you're going to type in Facebook Live recipes, and all 8 custom recipes that were created for this event will be posted there for our viewers' leisure to follow. So you have this unit on here. You took it out of the sous vide bath here, and just for our viewing audience, what did you exactly do there? You set it to what temperature and for how long?
So I mashed them up because they were in big pieces. So the way that we prepared this recipe was we just took 3 sweet potatoes, we peeled them and cut them into big chunks because you really don't need to chop them really small for this to work. We put the brown sugar, the butter, and we have some rosemary and thyme that were in there, and a little salt and pepper. And we cooked them for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, I think, in the sous vide bath at 180 degrees. And then we took them out, we mashed them up, so you have like some chunky sweet potato deliciousness with some smooth. We sprinkled the marshmallows on top, and now it's cooking in here at 400 degrees for 10 minutes just to get that final melty marshmallowy top.
And that's amazing. And for those of you who are watching, you noticed there was no preheat time, and that was one of the great questions submitted earlier. This particular unit, you basically turn it on and you start your cooking right away.
Yep.
Another feature that I always love with countertop appliances is the light feature. So this is just like your full-size oven, where you can press that light button, and depending on where you have it placed on your counter, if you need a little bit of light or you want to take a bit of a sneak peek and not open it, there's a light feature on there to sort of highlight what's inside. The creation at working with this particular unit.
Yeah, so that actually works really well because the unit is so small. So you can open your oven pretty comfortably and know that there's a lot of heat in there that's going to retain when you open the door and look at it and close it. But with something like an air fryer, you don't want to open it that much. You want to open it minimally. We do suggest that you rotate the trays sometimes because the heater is on the top. So if you want that super even cooking of French fries or something, if you're doing one thing, you definitely want to rotate those. For this particular steak frite recipe, we just did the fries on top and the steak on the bottom. Nothing really had to be rotated there. But so you can open the door and rotate things, but there is a light feature here that you can see what's going on inside without having to open the door.
Great. Well, this is cooking, and I see that you're at 400, and you mentioned we're at 8 minutes here. I just want to redirect our time here back to the sous vide cooker, because again, it is commonly asked, what is sous vide? How does it work? And we can recap that as well for our viewers that just joined us. But we do have a live question here from Andy Duncan, and he is talking about what kind of containers are those. And we did talk a little bit about these. These are commercial containers that you brought in, being a chef, looking for something a little bit more commercialized.
Yes.
I believe this is by Rubbermaid. Unfortunately, we do not carry the commercial series at our stores. But let's talk about that for our viewing audience. What type of containers can you use for sous viding? So if you were to purchase one of these at our store today up until Sunday for $94.99, which is a Wi-Fi model, lowest price of the year, 1,100 watts, how would our customers, viewing audience, start with this? So they have the unit, but what kind of containers can they use within their household assortment right now?
So you could use a regular stock soup pot to do this. You don't need to have a specific plastic container. Just anything like we were talking about before, there's a minimum level on that sous vide cooker that you want to make sure the water is at least to that level. So it doesn't have to be touching the bottom like it is in this situation right now, where the cooker is clearly touching the bottom of the container, which is also fine, but it doesn't have to do that as long as the water is up to the minimum line on the sous vide cooker, because you want to make sure that that cooker has enough room to circulate that water at that specific temperature.
And what about capacity? Like, should you use a larger container, a smaller container? Does it have a maximum threshold that you can, like, obviously some people have larger stock pots. There must be a maximum amount of, I guess, water that you would put in.
Yes. So there is a maximum line on the sous vide cooker for where the cooker should fall in terms of the water amount, but it can circulate up to 16 quarts. Yeah, that's a lot of water.
That is a lot of water, and
That's more than
basically,
a
I guess,
pot.
rule of thumb, you would match your container to the size of the meal that you're making.
Exactly.
The more water, obviously, it's going to take a little bit longer. Now, 1100 watts is going to heat your water up pretty quickly, but obviously, from an efficiency standpoint, you would look for a container that best suited to what you're cooking. Just for those of you who are joining, it is a Wi-Fi model. I'm going to show here on my phone here, the app here, and I can actually adjust the temperature here, the time if I want it to cook a little bit longer. Right now we're at 122. I'm going to bring that back up to 139, and I'm just going to hit done, and you can see automatically here it's moved up to 139 degrees. And a question for you. A lot of people use slow cooking, slow cookers as an option to accommodate their busy lifestyle. And I'm just wondering, can sous vide either replace that or complement it in terms of if I want to prepare something before I go to work? Is it something that, I mean, obviously it's not boiling water, it's maintaining a certain temperature. Is it something that I could prepare before I go to work and come home at the end of the day and still it'll be at the perfect temperature, or is it something that I need to monitor manually or through my app?
So a slow cooker will work at a higher temperature typically than a sous vide. So a slow cooker will bring the contents of the slow cooker up to a simmer at different amounts of time. So a simmer is around 208 to 210 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's hotter than what you would want for something like a steak. If you put your steak in the slow cooker, you're going to end up with cold beef. You're going to end up with
Fair
stew.
enough.
So with this, you're not really replacing the slow cooker because they're used for different purposes. So something like pulled pork, though you can do it in the slow cooker, though you can do it in the sous vide cooker, it's going to be much longer than if you do it in the slow cooker because it's contained in that plastic bag and not directly interacting with the heating element, which it is in a slow cooker.
Great, great. So we're down to the final few minutes here of the casserole here. We got 4 minutes here. As you can see on the right here, we were able to do a whole chicken in there, and it was on the rotisserie. You can see the spit. We have the steaks and the fries here that we prepared in advance here. For the steaks, maybe you can talk a little bit about that. How long did you have them in the oven for with the fries? And again, you were baking them at the exact same time. So again, as opposed to taking the steaks out or the fries out first, you were doing both of them simultaneously.
Yes. So the recipe that we have online for you is actually is the fresh French fries, so hand-cut fries that you do yourself from a raw potato with the steaks, and the whole thing together cooks for 25 minutes at 380 degrees. The whole time. So you put them in together, you take them out together, dinner is done.
Perfect. So a couple more minutes on here. Just on the app here that we're showing the viewing audience here, maybe you can talk about, there's a cooking calculator in the app.
Yes.
Maybe you can tell our viewing audience a little bit about that cooking calculator.
Sure. So sous vide cooking as a method can be kind of scary for a lot of people. They're not very comfortable with it. And even for me, when I started working with these units, I was like, what? I don't know how to even use this. But with the Chefman sous vide app, we've completely taken away that guesswork, and we've created a user experience that is so comfortable, anybody can do it. Anybody can do this at home. So the calculator, you put in exactly what you're cooking, if it's fresh or frozen, how thick your steak is or something like that, and it'll tell you exactly what time and what temperature to cook it at for perfect results every time.
Perfect. And I can see here, just toggling through this, it was asking me whether I wanted meat, fish, and other different types of items there. Now that I picked meat, it's asking me whether or not I want to do beef, pork, or lamb. If I choose beef, now it's dialed down to steak, burger, or brisket. So again, it's very intuitive for sous vide users. And for those of you who are interested in acquiring one of these, you have 2 options right now. We are giving away 1 of 7 prizes, and again, the sous vide is one of them. Also the 3-in-1, so all we need from you is a question, a comment, send us an emoji, or just say hello. And you will automatically be entered to win 1 of 7 prizes here that we have from Chefman. My name is Dan Moy, Merchandise Manager for London Drugs. Next to me here is Chef Joelle, and you can see she's just pulling out of the oven now something that we've been baking here for 10 minutes in the 3-in-1 6-liter air fryer. And boy, I can tell you, you're not able to smell the aroma at home or wherever you're viewing this from, but I can tell you it's filling up the studio, and boy, does it smell delicious.
Yeah, so this is the sweet potato casserole when it's done. See, you're getting just that little bit of crispy brown texture on the top from the marshmallows, and it's ready to serve, perfectly ready to serve. So this is a great thing because you completely don't have to watch it while it's cooking. You can focus on all the other craziness of Thanksgiving, whatever else is in your oven. It's in the sous vide bath while you're, running around your house, and when you're ready to serve it, at least this one thing is taken care of. So
fantastic. Well, I'm going to let you dish that up. I'm just going to pull the 3.5 basket air fryer from the side here. Again, this is one of our feature items as well too. Maybe for those who are just joining us, we are featuring the 6-liter 3-in-1 here that can be purchased at London Drugs for this event from today until Sunday, either in store or online. $169.99, that's $30 off, our lowest price of the year for the 3-in-1 6-liter air fryer. We also have the 3.5-liter here that we have featured as well too, which is on sale for $64.99. Great value. Again, maybe just for those viewers that are just joining us right now, you can talk a little bit about the 3.5-liter basket style air fryer.
Sure. So we talked a little bit before about what air frying is, and it's basically a small countertop convection oven. So it's high speed, air circulation, and high heat. So this is great because it has a really small footprint on your countertop. I have one of these in my apartment. Like, it barely takes up any room. We use it for everything. You can use it to reheat pizza. You can use it to cook vegetables or meat, or throw some shrimp in there just for 8 minutes. It's so incredibly fast, and everything comes out so delicious and crispy and tender.
Great, and just as we were talking about these 2 air frying options, we're talking about sous viding today, which is another common question about sous viding. This Wi-Fi unit at 1100 watts can be purchased, or one today for that matter, but at London Drugs in store or online for $94.99, sub $100 for a Wi-Fi sous vide unit. It is an amazing value, and again, we talked about how it is really a game changer in terms of at-home cooking, extremely popular. You have the sous vide egg bites here that Chefman was kind enough to create 8 custom recipes that are available on our blog, londondrugs.com. Again, search for Facebook Live recipes. You'll find all 8 recipes there. We have this amazing dish here. Earlier on, we prepared the steak and the fries. You can see there, and boy, I can tell you, I am fighting myself to take a bite of one of those, and I'll tell you, it just might happen sooner than later. And we have a rotisserie chicken there that we talked about, basically from the fridge. And I believe you said 45 minutes to get results like this. So basically, if you think about that, if you purchase a chicken from the grocery store, it's in your fridge. When you get home from work or your activities at the end of the day, from the fridge into the unit, 45 minutes, you have ready to eat, fall off the bones, a chicken rotisserie with the rotisserie option. We also talked a little bit about dehydration.
Yes.
We didn't touch a lot about that, but you can see there some of the things that you've prepared in advance. Now, dehydration is a common method of cooking. I know a lot of people out there watching probably have dehydrators out there, whether it's a 4-tray, a 6-tray, an 8-tray, depending on how enthusiastic you are in terms of dehydration. But this unit here also dehydrates as well too. So maybe you can talk a little bit about dehydration.
Sure. So what I love about this unit and the dehydrating function is that it's smaller than a traditional dehydrator. So although you don't have as many trays to lay out your fruits or your vegetables or whatever you're dehydrating, you do have the 2 trays that it comes with, and it's such a small unit that it goes pretty quickly. It could even be faster than a traditional dehydrator because of the fact that it's such a small area to circulate that heat. So what we have here today is a banana chip trail mix. So when we were thinking back to school, we're thinking, how can we make, you know, healthy snacks for your kids at home? So we know it's so easy to buy things like trail mix or granola bars in the store, but like we said before, like you don't always know what they're putting in that. It's so much fun to make things at home and get your kids involved in stuff. So this is super easy. These are dehydrated banana chips that we did for 6 hours in this unit, and we mixed it with little tiny pretzels and peanut butter chips and chocolate chips. And here you go. You have trail mix for the whole, you know, for all of your kids. You can put them in little bags and send them off to school with them.
And my comment, I guess, here to those who are viewing us right now, I've tried dehydrating in past. I'm not the most patient individual out there, and I can tell you that traditional dehydrating does take a long time. Now, with a unit like this, you mentioned it is a little bit quicker. If traditionally, something I think banana chips take anywhere 8 to, I believe, 10 hours. What would this unit dehydrate, or how long would it take to dehydrate banana chips in comparison to a traditional dehydration unit?
So, you know, dehydrating really depends on your preferences. Like, do you want something a little chewier, or do you want something
Fair
that's
enough.
very
Good
crunchy?
comment, yeah.
So you can kind of play around with it. This is definitely something that I would say, check after 6 hours, see what the texture is like. You take one out and let it cool completely, because the texture actually changes once you take it out of the oven and let it cool off. And see if your kids are going to like that texture, if they want something a little chewier. Keep in mind though, if you're going to go with something a little chewier, it might not be 100% dehydrated. So this might be something that you would want to keep just in the refrigerator to make sure that if it's not completely free of any moisture, because it might be a little bit chewy, you keep it in the refrigerator to keep it from going bad.
Great answer. For those of you who are just joining us, you're seeing a variety of recipes sitting here that were basically created from these two units here. We do have a 3.5 basket air fryer as well too. We have the rotisserie chicken here. We have the steak and fries. I'm next to Chef Joelle here. I'm Dan Moy from London Drugs, Merchandise Manager. For those of you who are just joining us, or a reminder, send us a comment, a question. Hello, tell us where you're from, and you will be automatically entered to win one of 7 prizes that we have here from Chefman. We have a glass kettle, we have an automatic wine opener, and I can tell you, again, you know, it's great for the second and the third glass of wine in particular. A programmable glass kettle, again, great design feature. It has a tea infuser. We're going to be awarding one of our lucky viewers today with that, as well as the 3-in-1, the 6-liter. Again, for those of you joining us, we're originally going to give away just 2 items, but due to the generosity from our vendor partners at Chefman, we're so excited today to be talking about air frying and sous viding. We're going to be giving away 7 prizes in total. So again, send us a comment. Automatically enters you. Just say hello to us. Tell us where you're from. Send us an emoji. Again, all the recipes that we've talked about here today, 8 in total, that were custom created for this event by Chefman. And again, we'll just say hello to Chef Megan here, who created all these amazing recipes here. Megan, a shout out. Hello here. She is the creator of all these recipes here. They're posted on our blog.londondrugs.com in the search bar. All you need to do is type in Facebook Live Recipes, and there you'll have access to all 8 custom recipes. We have a question here from Sarima. How often do you have to change the oil in the fryer?
So, this is not a traditional fryer. There is no oil that goes into it, so therefore you do not have to change it. You do not put oil into this unit. Like we were talking about before, something like vegetables that don't have any fat naturally, you would want to toss those with a little bit of olive oil. But that's the most amount of oil you want to put in this unit. You definitely do not want to dump a bottle of canola oil in there.
So Sarima raises a great question. This is not your traditional or conventional deep fryer. It'll do a lot of the features that a traditional, conventional deep fryer will do. And we were talking a little bit earlier about what this unit can't do. And I think that's important for our viewing audience because, you know, I'll admit here on camera, some of my favorites, whether it be fried chicken or, you know, beer batter, fish and chips, and the list goes on and on. There are some limitations to the countertop and the basket air fryer. And so maybe you can talk a little bit about that, what air frying cannot do, because I think those out there that are viewing this right now want to know what specific limitations. Not a lot, but there are some.
So you want to avoid putting anything that's like a wet batter in here. So tempura batter, beer batter, buttermilk, fried chicken batter, you want to avoid putting that in here because it's not the same as a deep fryer. When you put in a deep fryer, that oil surrounds that food and really makes sure that that batter sticks onto the food. You don't have that with an air fryer. So you would do something like, you could do like panko crusted fish or something. You could do we have like a panko crusted fish stick recipe for like fish tacos, or like coconut crusted shrimp. But those are dry batters. So you could do like a dredge, you could do like flour, egg, and then breadcrumbs, something like that. And that works really well in here, but definitely not anything that's going to drip off the food and land on the bottom.
So that's great insight for those of you who are joining us. We're just talking about conventional deep frying and some of the things that you cannot do in this air fryer. But I just want to take, I guess, a different angle. Air frying does lead to healthier options when it comes to cooking.
Absolutely.
As opposed to, and now again, you're not going to get away from that great fish and chip that we talked about, or the deep fried chicken, but from a healthier option or alternative, air frying is a great solution for healthier cooking.
Yes. So one example I was telling you about last night is my mom will not eat chicken wings normally. She doesn't like them. They're too greasy and she thinks that they're gross. When I make her chicken wings in our air fryer at home, she goes crazy for them because they're so much less greasy. You know that they're going to be healthier for you. And when you take them out, you just toss them in your favorite barbecue sauce or wing sauce or something like that, and you avoid the grease of a deep fryer altogether.
I'm just going to turn this on real quickly here because we did turn it off, and something that I did promise the viewing audience here was I was going to talk about the temperature or the ambient temperature around it. So I just want to have this unit turned on here. So it's on now. We're going to give it a couple of minutes. You do not have to wait for the oven to preheat. It's one of the features where you can basically turn it on, set it in. It does have a little bit of background noise due to the fan. It is not loud at all. We're standing right next to it. I can barely hear it. And then in about 2 minutes here, I'm going to put my hand on there and actually tell you what the temperature is like about there. Well, we got a few minutes left here. For those of you who are just catching the tail end here, my name is Dan Moy for London Drugs, Merchandise Manager, next to Chef Joelle here. We're talking about air frying. A lot of questions coming in for that, and everyone who's asked questions or made a comment, you've automatically been entered to win one of 7 prizes. We're also talking about sous viding, which for those of you who are joining, you can rewind this episode here and learn a little bit more about sous viding and some of the things that you can do with it. And really, it's kind of a hidden secret in terms of a culinary option now available for residential use here. Yeah. And I guess, they've given us a little bit of time here, and this is something that I've been waiting for the last half an hour here, and excuse me, I'm just hoping I can. So we created this, oh boy, you can see this is not my first rodeo with a chicken here, but when we talk about fall off the bones, it is literally fall off the bones here. And you can see for our viewing audience here how easily that bone came off that chicken. That was something that we prepared off camera due to the time. Just reaching over here. It is warm to the touch, but it is not hot at all. And again, this was on for 2 minutes, which doesn't require preheating, which was one of the great questions from our viewing audience, who's automatically entered to win one of 7 prizes. And again, it's a great option for smaller footprint areas. Even if you have a large kitchen, it would be a great asset. You can purchase any of these products that we talked about today at London Drugs in store or online. And our video will be posted on our Facebook page this afternoon. If you happen to miss anything, I'd like to thank you along with Chefman for taking the time to talk to our customers and audience. And on behalf of London Drugs, we can't thank you enough. And again, one more time here, we're talking about sous viding, air frying. Thank you to Megan, who created 8 custom recipes. They're on our London Drugs blog, our Facebook page as well too later on. For those of you who want access to it, blog.londondrugs.com. Search on the search bar, just type in Facebook Live recipes. Again, thank you to Chefman. Again, if you want to enter to win one of these great 7 prizes, post a question or comment below. I'm just looking at some quick notes here. Oh, and the additional prizes here. We have an immersion blender that we talked about. Value, $34.99. Electric wine opener. Who doesn't want one of those at $39.99? The programmable kettle there, great design, has a tea infuser, a lot of different preset options on it, $139.99. And again, we have a glass warming tray, perfect for basically keeping your creation that you've created with the sous vide or the air fryer here ready for your guests at home. Well, unfortunately, the time has come to an end now, and we just want to thank those of you, the viewing audience, who've joined us, who have interacted with us so that we can enter you into winning one of 7 great Chefman products here. Again, on behalf of London Drugs, thank you, Chef Joelle. And again, a shout out to Chef Megan, who created 8 custom recipes. And for those of you, we are going to have this on our Facebook page later on this afternoon if you happen to miss anything. Any questions that we were not able to get to you live, we're going to address those offline as well too. Don't worry, you've automatically been entered to win, again, assortment of prizes here. And I can tell you right now, once the camera turns off, I'm going to do my job in terms of cleaning up, but we're going to need a fork and a knife for that. And I guess I'll use this as my napkin. But again, thank you very much. Your insights
so much,
and
Dan.
your professional insight to air frying and sous viding. So thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic day, and looking forward to seeing you guys next time when we introduce other options from a small appliance perspective.